Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Sean Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Sean Thompson. And this is the Sean Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
He was the first guy I thought of.
And when the band plays,
he really was, bro. Because I know he promised we're going to Sizzler.
6. Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data.
Rick Santelli, who had, at least in the 90s, terrible breath, but wicked smart. He was trying to say, in a politically correct way, before Joe Biden stole the election, but my next guest knows the destruction to our economy it did. And you know why he knows it, Squirrel? If you want to know about stealing, you ask a Somalian. You want to know about cheating on an election, you ask a Chicago Democrat. You want to know about the economy, you ask a Dutchman. He's known nationally and internationally as Scott the Cow Guy. But to me, he's the Dutchman. How are you, handsome?
Good afternoon, sir. Glad to be with you.
It's really quite interesting to see the success and how people are almost afraid to mention it. Do you mean to tell me in a year and a half he reversed the destruction, and it looks like we could possibly be reprivatizing the economy at the same time? This is big. It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish. I mean, a lot of people are afraid to be bullish because they're always worried about the other shoe dropping. But I think that with earnings, our earnings are killing it. These companies are doing so well. And now that we've seen oil steam off of its highs from 115 bucks a barrel now down to 78, 79 bucks a barrel. We've been as low as 67. I'm not concerned that we're going to be really taking off from here. If he gets the Middle East sorted out, if he gets Venezuela, Cuba sorted out, and Russia, I don't think anybody really can put it all together. He lays awake at night thinking about it all, but he's fighting about 5 different huge things. If any one of them comes true, it's fantastic. But if all 5 of them come true, I think it's going to be nirvana.
I couldn't agree more. And what's fascinating, too, to me, is that he has reorchestrated, as you and I have talked about, the supply chain for the most important commodity, oil and natural gas and energy itself. But, you know, I've been looking at a lot of this stuff. And you know, we've been friends for years, but you've been listening to my show. Since I had to do the election night with Beyond the Beltway, Bruce Dumont, God rest his soul, and we were doing that, I have never wavered on the fact. I really feel there's no way 81,283,501 people voted for the dimwit in diapers. He successfully stole the election. But one of the most fascinating things he did that doesn't get mentioned is that while Joe Biden was orchestrating the presidency, he sequestered 674 million acres of both water and land, in essence, to stop the production of oil, to stop the production of energy itself, and to sell that bull dung of green energy.
Yep.
Trump has reversed a lot of this, but I believe what he's going to do tomorrow night is he's going to talk about the absolute undeniable prima facie evidence of election theft, in essence nullifying the Biden years. And if he can do that, and the record history books recognize that Joe Biden was illegitimate, you reverse all of those other things overnight, like the 674 million acres. I mean, you could really jumpstart the economy if you nullify all of those spending bills, which you know how government works. Once it's a law, it's in perpetuity, and so is the kicker at 3% every year. I mean, I love the old saying that we used to hear at the Merc. The one thing we know is that we don't know. If that happens, and then we're playing the if game, I understand. But if that happens, now you saw off $2 trillion in automatic spending. Now you're really kicking ass, aren't you?
Yeah, I agree, but they're going to continue to try. I mean, you're right about all that stuff. They were doing everything they could to put anything that had anything to do with fossil fuels out of business, which is insane because you know what? We're a rich country. And how do we get rich, Sean? We got rich because we got 400 years of dinosaur dirt, dinosaur dung below us that's turned into oil. And you know what? That's what got us rich. And what happens when you're rich is you have the best schools on earth and you have the best healthcare system on earth. That's why we were number one. And for them to come in and want to take that away, it's almost like they had a plan to cripple us at the knees and try to give everybody else power instead of us. And guess what? They're still trying to do it. Kathy Hochul comes out. You know what the next new big energy thing is going to be? Is these data centers are going to run the world. And she signs a 1-year moratorium and no data centers in New York. Now, I don't think it's going to give China a leg up. I think these are going to go to other states. But they're still trying to stop us from getting power and cutting us off at the knees from trying to make ourselves better. First, it's fossil fuels, and now it's going to be data centers. And let me tell you another thing. She doesn't like the data centers because, it's got a water problem, and we're taking away farmland. Well, she didn't give she didn't give anything when it was farmland going for solar panels. She actually sped that process up. They ate thousands and thousands of farm acres for solar panels. It's insane. These people are sick.
Yes, and it's funny. I did a whole thing over the weekend on solar. You know, Scott, they took advantage of so much of the programs. They were selling in the ghetto to illiterates, to destitute people. They were selling solar systems on homes that were worth $30,000. I'm not kidding you. $30,000. They were selling $98,000 worth of solar. It's a giant.
That's illegal.
It's a giant scam. It was on autopilot. These companies propped up. If you look at just the money that was misappropriated and stolen, and then you talked about these Democrats, and how about Maine? She brags about canceling the pipelines. Then they massively increase the cost. You look at these Democrat enclaves and these Democrat fiefdoms, from water to electricity to parking to everything. The equality they deliver is through the bankruptcy. And then you have to turn to your abuser and rub the feet of your slave master. That's what we stopped by the too big to rig in 2024. And I really do think that once you can negate so much of these abuses, expose so much of this fraud as we are, instantly reversing trillions of dollars of automatic spending, the best is yet to come. This will be the threshold. And when we talk about markets, the idea that we're within 1% of all-time highs across the board, and only a couple of shows like yours and mine discuss it. I'm amazed at the lack of follow-through on what is referred to as information, even business channels. I mean, CNBC has a couple of great shows. So does Fox News. But ultimately, the bulk of it is being silenced by Bloomberg, and that little creepy bastard has always been a part of the Fourth Reich. I really think that the venue has opened up for shows like yours and mine, and I'm seeing an uptick. Are you in the true information of what economies are?
Yeah, because it's coming true. You know, you're exactly right. Yes, I am seeing an uptick. And you know what? Really, it's coming from, it started last April when he had his tariffs. And guess what? The whole world was supposed to fall in on itself. Remember? We were going to go bankrupt. The whole place was going to be ruined. And you know what? There was a lot of retail investment, some big institutions, but hardly any that said, you know what if this goes right? What if he is right here? And he was right, by the way. What if this goes well? What's going to happen to the stock? The people that went to the sidelines thinking that the world was going to end missed out on one of the biggest rallies of all time. And I think that's setting up again now because everybody's still worried. Oh, when's the other shoe going to drop in this AI race? When are we going to have these valuations? The valuations are not stretched. There are some companies that maybe are overvalued. But by the way, when it's compared to 2000 and the dot-com era, it doesn't even compare. We're sitting on something that's on the cusp of something that's going to be so big. And when he does bring Cuba and Venezuela to heel and the Middle East to heel, and he's got no problems with Russia and Ukraine anymore, and now we have to deal with China, Taiwan, this man is going to leave office, and we're going to go, wow, I wish we had 4 more years of that because we're winning.
History will vindicate and always does. And, you know, I think the best is yet to come as they do the autopsy of the last 18 years and they see what he did. And I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. And I'm not a Federal Reserve guy. I'm not, but it's the system we're handcuffed to. But when you hear Warsh and when you hear his understanding and when you listen to Art Laffer, I was listening to Art Laffer today. It was on Fox Business. And he talks about Warsh. Now, Art Laffer, as you know who he is, he's the youngest guy in the Reagan administration. They attribute him to so much of Reagan's success. And he says, although I disagree with the Federal Reserve System and so many of the people who have led it, Warsh is the best fundamental economist in my lifetime. That's a big, big statement, isn't it?
Look, I can't give Art Laffer more respect. He's been on my show, and every Thursday his son is on my show. He'll be on my show tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central. Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
His son's the economist for Laffer Tengler, Nancy Tengler out of Scottsdale. She's fantastic. She's always on Fox and CNBC. But anyway, again, bright minds. And by the way, they would be saying the same things that we're saying right now on this radio show. They think that the best is yet to come, and we're just about to ride a wave of prosperity and economic freedom that we've never seen before. And a lot of it's got to do with technology, and a lot of it's got to do with the way things are setting up, and a lot of it's got to do with President Trump. You just have to take it, just relax and let it happen, because it's going to happen. But you know what? Porsche is worth $220 million, and he didn't steal it. He's just smart, and he made it on his own. Right?
Yes,
He's not a government employee, and he was around for the 2008 debacle, so he knows what danger is. I don't agree with him jawboning this inflation thing. I think he's trying to be a little bit too smart there. I'll let him have it for the time being, because I think that does hurt the middleman, because the man on the street is suffering from the defensive posture of the 10-year yield being up around 4.5, 4.6 when it should be below 4, and the 10-year yield's just worried about these stupid idea of hiking interest rates, which was blown out of the water. I've been pounding the pavement about this is the dumbest thing since defund the police. This idea that we're going to be hiking rates this year. They got blown out of the water yesterday and today, thank God. But he's still kind of talking about it. B of A's got 3 interest rate hikes between now and the end of the year, too. I think they're going to have to climb down from that, too. I mean, sometimes these people can smoke themselves into analysis paralysis like I've never seen before. But to your point, Warsh is a very smart guy. I know some people that have had dinner with him. They say he's very impressive. I have the utmost confidence of him, Rubio, and Bessent. I feel very good about that trio.
How about this Bessent? I love the son of a gun. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
What's fascinating to realize, and doesn't get mentioned, the whole thing of the perspective of how bad those years were under Biden, how bad, how much money, $9 trillion on the debt, which is the equivalent of 236 years of our country. That's what that moron did. And the fraud and the specificity of the steal of the Medicare enrichment and the growth and all the rest of it. It's 30 cents plus per dollar that imbecile took from the value of that dollar. And the idea that we have this fast of a recovery in so many arenas, and it's just the beginning. And the whole thing about the midterms and the rest of it, it doesn't matter if he reestablishes the most important principles of fundamental economics and cuts the fraud at the same time. They almost can't screw it up, except in the areas they've already screwed up. And this is the other part to focus on. And when you look in Illinois, this fat slob, I don't know if you watched him talk about the soybean industry, the most subsidized soybean industry, and this pretend investment that the soybean producers are going to put forward. It's a grant. It's another one of the last grants out there, $250 million. They're putting $250 million, they say, to expand the productivity and the price protection of soybeans. That's not even a market in itself, that they cheer the corruption and the subsidies anyway, as 100-year businesses have left from True Value to, we watch what happens with Walgreens. I give them 6 months. But when you look at what's happening in all the businesses and the collapsing and all the growth opposite, it's an easy argument to make. If you want to be a ghetto subsidized economy, congratulations, you're a Democrat voter. If you don't, you're not. Isn't it that simple?
Yeah, it is. And now we're heading down this path. I don't think we should let our guard down on the right, because the left is being infiltrated with this Trojan horse called Democratic Socialists of America. But that's the left has morphed into a socialist party, which will be communist, and that's an easy choice for a lot of those people to make over there, because they feel disenfranchised. The American dream has left them behind because they weren't part of the steal. They can't afford to get a home because of the money that Biden put into the economy and blew up asset prices. They're worried about their jobs being taken by artificial intelligence. I don't blame them for feeling a little bit uneasy. And now they're turning to somebody that's promising them they're going to give them everything that they don't have right now. I see that's an easy sell. That is the next big threat here to this country.
Well, it is, but it's also thank them for identifying themselves for what they are. I've been calling it the Fourth Reich for years. Congratulations. You're the social. I love it. Keep calling yourself that, and it explains so much of the lack of business in your areas, of the destruction of the quality of life, because that's what it delivers. Anywhere it's tried, that's what it delivers. It delivers a ghetto, and you're building ghettos. But one of the things I'm sad about is the lack of challenges by the illegality of socialism. See, it's illegal. Socialism is illegal. It's unconstitutional. It can't really move forward. And when you see California, I don't know if you saw this, but they passed, California morons tried to pass a law that illegal aliens can qualify for $150,000 to buy real estate. How in the frack is that legal? And why aren't you got 74 counties that have never voted Democrat. Why aren't they challenging this to the Supreme Court? Don't we have to start challenging the fact that your socialism and your Marxism, I don't care if you call it a democracy or not. You cannot enslave the decent to the indecent. That's the beauty of America.
I agree, but I don't know. I'm of the fact that New York, New Jersey, California, Illinois. I don't know how much government money I'd spend on trying to make them better. I'd let them fall in on themselves. The math is not working there. Ultimately, it will go under. So I would just let it go under. I wouldn't spend a dime on them. But if they want to continue to give away hard-earned tax-paying dollars to illegal immigrants that come into those sanctuary cities and states, go ahead, make yourself bankrupt. I'm not going to help you. And I think we're going to have another Republican president when this is all over again, and they're going to have to wait longer, and it's going to get worse. I wouldn't spend a dime on them. Let them fall into the sea. Let them go bankrupt and see how they like it. They cannot run their country, their states like they are and expect a federal bailout. It absolutely incenses me.
So Warner Wilhelm, who went under the name Del Basio because it was his mother's name. You know that, right? Did you know that?
Yeah.
His real name is Warner Wilhelm.
I didn't know. I didn't know why. Yeah, okay.
That is absolutely perfect. So his mother is a Del Basio. He said, let me run under that. This way it's not so Nazi-ish, even though he's representing the National Socialist Worker Union. So when he becomes mayor in New York, there are 20.2% of New Yorkers are millionaires. Okay? By the time this idiot kid, when he first starts to run, there are 8.1% of New Yorkers are millionaires. So they just did a study when you saw Sergey Brin sell his 5,900 units at 6 cents on the dollar. And you see Fink, also BlackRock, they bail and they lose 75 cents on the dollar of their assets that they held there. So the girl on Fox is talking on Saturday. She goes, I think it's even less. Oh, do you think so? So I looked it up today. Now you're at 3.1% of New Yorkers are millionaires. At a certain point, who the frack are you going to tax? What they don't understand about people who made their money honestly, whether it's you or whether it's Besant, is you're smart enough to understand you're the target. So by the time these idiots start to really move forward with their plans, how are they going to tax each other? Isn't that what they run on anyway, the snake eating its tail?
No, they're so ignorant that their education level is, I told you this, I know there's a couple of people out there that are related to people in the government that actually do care, but most of them don't care, okay? It's not a vocation for them. They're just trying to go there and get onto the steal. But that's when you have, like Chicago, these politicians that have no idea about business that are trying to tax the Board of Trade and the CME to their knees. And when they don't understand, it's just a server, you dough brain. They're just going to pull the server out of the server rack, go down to Miami or over to Dallas or Austin and plug it in down there. And now what do you got? You have no leverage, but they're that stupid. They think they've got leverage. That's how dangerous it is. They're so stupid. They think they're powerful, and that is bad.
Yeah, arrogance and ignorance. And this Texas exchange, that's kind of a big deal, right? As from the lineage.
I'm hearing more and more about it, and I'm getting a lot of people writing into the show wanting me to talk about it. So I'm having to do my own studying. But yeah, that's significant. And by the way, you know what? This idea that New York is the financial capital of the world, forget about it, okay? If anything, it's Miami. It's moved down south. There's no more. They're not going to be able to keep that throne. I don't think they have it anymore. And by the way, what percentage of those millionaires in New York just have an own property that went up in value and don't have the cash?
Well, that's the other thing, right? And then the idea that we allow these imbeciles to pretend that they can limit what you charge and the rest of it. It's really fascinating. It's fascinating to watch. But the other thing that's fascinating, I don't know, I see it because I'm also still practicing in real estate, right? So I got a guy, and he says, let's find some buildings. I want to look at some buildings in your area, right? So commercial buildings, he wants cap rate and the rest of it. They haven't come down in price more than 5%, in some cases 8%, and nobody's in a hurry to sell. So what we see in commercial real estate here where I am is very strong seller, if at all. Very, very, very simultaneously with that, very, very thin inventory. So the prices are almost at the point where they're bidding wars again for anything that has a cap rate over 5. So when you look, and now you stretch it out, right? You go to the other areas that are a little bit downtrodden. They're not quite the Collier County. They're Lee County, and they're the rest of it. You see that these are actively moving. They're transacting, and they're transacting about 8% from their highs. And then you look at the commercial real estate in New York and in Chicago, in Illinois in general, and you see complete chaos. Is that what's happening in Tennessee? I'm curious to know, because to me, the real estate market, residential, is different. You don't have to, you could be retired and you don't have to be part of the existing economy. But when the commercial is strong, that's projected growth in the future. That's why I'm very bullish in Southwest Florida. What are you seeing, or are you even paying attention? I know you pay attention to everything, but are you seeing the same in Tennessee? I'm curious.
I don't have a line into commercial real estate. I do know that the residential real estate is starting to trade, but it's flatlined. We haven't seen the gains you saw in the first 4 years of the decade here from 2020 to 2024. But also, I will say this, you know, next time you drive past the Nashville on the way to Chicago from Florida, Sean, count how many cranes we have in the air. They're still building a lot of big buildings downtown. And since I've been here for the 5 years I'm here, it's exploded with condos and big new office buildings. So they're still building all that stuff. So when I see that going on, I still feel very comfortable that things are going well.
Yeah, residential is unique, right? It's very specific, and to me, it's always been a lagger, not a leader. And when the money is tight, residential tightens up. But commercial is different, because commercial has cap, it has revenue, it has a growth, and it has lease strength. Lease strength is what I see in all of these decent areas. There is no lease strength in all the Democrat-run areas. To me, that's the real indicator. So that's why I tune in to RFD TV's Scott the Cow Guy Close, because you cover all of this. And the fact that you have Art Laffer's son, can you do me a favor? Can you find out if his dad was like my dad? If he got the answer wrong, did he slap him in the back of the head and say, "No, dummy, that's not how you do it"? Or was Art Laffer more, "No, you got to carry the one"?
I've had his dad on my show too, so I've had them both on. But I have his son on regularly on Thursdays at 1 o'clock Central. So yeah.
Oh, I'll be tuning in, you handsome son of a gun. And would you do me a favor and please kiss the wife for me, please?
I will.
Notice how I took it easy on you? I didn't say anything about your great-grandfather being the inspiration for the wooden shoe. There was no regular shoe that was going to hold that Dutchman. I took it completely easy on you, you brilliant bastard.
Exactly right. All right,
Thank
brother.
you. I love you. Thank you. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Thank you.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on The Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars